indie authors, have you ever got to a point in your writing where something feels off? One of your characters is not performing how they should. You've got a romance that's going nowhere. You've got a criminal that you need to defeat, but you don't know how. What you need is a coach. And I just happen to know one of the best coaches out there. She's joining me today on my channel. Please welcome TJ Lloyd. Thank you so much.
Hello, Stevie. It's a pleasure to be here.
Wonderful to have you on the channel. Also a fellow Aussie, which
Yes.
ups the stakes for me. So very happy to see you. So let's talk about your writing first. So you've got a series of children's books called the Archie Age series, and these are for the tween market.
Yes, more junior fiction. Probably it's younger than that. So it's for the first step after picture books. So probably you're looking at
Right.
stage two, say from 5 to maybe 9 or 10. Mind you, some high schools have it in their remedial section as well.
Fantastic. How great is it that you're on school curriculums? That's a bonus. That's
Yes,
really good. Yeah.
yes, yes.
So it's the Archie Age. It's about a little boy named Archie who's got some.
Mhm.
Does he have special skills, or does it's just the traveling that gives him these skills?
Well, it's just the traveling that gives him his skill. And when I was coming up with it, I wanted, and one of my catchphrases, I suppose, would be that he's not extraordinary or
Right.
extraordinary. He's just a normal everyday boy who has fears, who has worries. He's lost his sister, different things going on in his life. But then he gets transported to this world and he does get challenged and he does face a lot of different things. And so it's a growth for him, and he learns that he does have strong powers, but they
Yeah.
mainly are like resilience, loyalty, and courage, which I think I'm encouraging kids to see that everyone's
Yeah.
got that inside of them. It just depends on what happens for you to show it.
And this is what I love about these kind of children's books is that there's the subliminal message that the kids think they're reading a fantasy story, but they're
Yeah,
getting
yeah,
this message that you can do it, you can do anything, you can overcome anything, you've all got powers. And that's
yeah.
why these books are on school curriculums, because they're doing the teaching in the right way.
That's right. And it's a great fantasy is a great genre for that because you can make a lot of wonderful thing happen, but you do have that underlying message and theme for the kids that relates to them and their world.
Yeah, and we had a little chat on one of your videos the other day about fantasy worlds, and I basically said it's it's an open slather. You can write whatever's in your mind, and it can come
Yeah.
true, and that's why
Yes.
fantasy is great. So there's two books I know: Archie and the Land of Light, and then Archie and the Deadly Seas. There's a third
Yep.
one.
Yep. So I've got Arky in the Land
Yep,
of Light. That was
good
my
one.
first one published 2023.
Yep,
Then Arky and the Cursed Caves was
right.
published 2025
Hmm.
last year. And then, sorry, 2024. And then last year we have Arky and the Deadly Seas.
Right.
Uh, it it will be going to be a 6-part series, and I'm editing my fourth one in the series.
Great. All right.
So, but the rest of it's all up here. I just have to get it down on paper.
Okay. Well, this is your right. This is the writing part of your component of your life. But where
Yes.
I'm so excited and where I fell in love with your content so much is your author coaching. Now, your
Yep.
videos are perfect because you introduce the pain point and then you introduce a number of solutions and scenarios to help the author out. So,
Yep.
where did this come from? Where did you go from author to super coach?
Well, I think initially, like my vocation, I'm an English teacher.
Like
So
me.
it's probably a natural progression, and I can't help myself sometime.
Right,
And
right.
when I got on TikTok just to originally increase my profile as an author, and I was just doing some posts, but then I wanted to do something more. And I thought, well, this is what I know. And I've taught, you know, from primary school right through to HSC Year
Mhm.
12 students I still do. And so I go back and look at what questions they've had or what struggles they've had. And I thought, well, I can put this out there, see if there's any reception for it, and see what happens. And then I started to do that. I got some great feedback and great people messaging me and saying that they liked what I was doing, which was really reaffirming for me.
Yeah.
So I just kept doing that, and I keep thinking about perspectives of writers. I mean, I wish I had started writing much earlier, but I was teaching and I didn't. But
Hmm.
just to encourage and help other writers out there, I think that's what I'm trying to do. Yeah.
And you do it so well. Like I'm not an author, but I watch your videos, and I just think
Mm.
if I was writing, I need to know this.
Yeah.
Like this.
Thank you.
So, what do you think are the two or three main pain points that a lot of indie authors in particular probably encounter in their first books?
Well, the first one I would say would even before that would be self-doubt and either stop starting all the time. And I'm saying that from my
Mm,
own perspective too, and not believing in yourself and getting things down. And it's also so when I'm teaching creative writing at school,
yeah.
students will say, I can't do
Hmm.
that, I can't do
Hmm.
that. I said,
Yes.
take
Yeah.
that roadblock out of your head and
Yes.
just put something down. And that's
Mhm.
what we do for first draft. So I think that initial starting and getting a first draft down, a lot of people might start, but not to see it through to the end. I think that
Yeah.
is a pain point for people, and they might tuck it away in their drawer and not revisit it and think, no, that, and have doubt and think, no, that's not good enough.
Right.
So
Right.
to keep going and get it down, I think is one of the important things for people.
Yep.
And another thing I think is too much detail, thinking or not realizing that as in movies or as in any other type of text, we don't need to know, or as a reader, every single thing that happens.
Yeah. Yes.
So, because that's another way where you lose readers and you lose the main plot and the purpose and the movement of your story.
Yeah.
So detailing and putting too much stuff, I would say,
Yes.
in there that
Yeah.
takes over from the main guts of the story.
Right. I
Um,
don't like big
that
descriptions either, like massive descriptions of things. And
No, well, and no, and I'm so, and everyone is different as a
mm,
reader, but I know I look at it. It's coming from my perspective as a reader, and if there's too much, that's where you lose me.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
as an English teacher, I've read a lot of books. That's when I start to skim read, and that's
Right.
when I know, uh, okay, this is too much.
Yeah. I have this saying that I like to say about this is that the girl sitting on the beach, I don't care how all the beautiful colors of the sunset and all the clouds passing by and all the birds. I just want to know if she's dug up the bones yet.
Yes, yes.
Because
I mean,
it's
some to set the mood, but not as much as what a lot of people do put in.
yeah. So I know that's another what would be a number three? What would be another three pain point from any new authors?
Number three, I would say probably the characterization is,
Yeah.
and again, I think some people, and I know I do too, think that or your characters have to be superhuman or fantastic or perfect. And that's not what a lot of readers, and myself included, like. You
Right.
need to make them, it doesn't have to be realistic because a fantasy novel might not be realistic,
Hmm.
but they need to be relatable for a
Yeah.
reader. And
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be perfect. Actually, it's better not to be perfect.
Yes.
You know,
Flaws.
have flaws and make mistakes and be grumpy or angry or, it
Yes.
shows that they're human in a sense.
I read a book once that the husband, he had a degree from MIT. He could run a marathon in under 3 hours. He was a super tech
Wow.
wizard, and he was trying to save the world. His wife had a PhD from Stanford or something, and she was even better tech wizard than he was, and she was also a fitness guru. And then their daughter, who was even better than that, had double degrees. And I was just like,
Amazing.
oh, I was like, you know what? And I actually messaged the author, and I just said, I'm sorry, but I can't go any further because your characters, I don't like them because they're
No.
flawless, and no one wants to
Yes.
read this. Like,
No.
give him a limp, something. Give him a pot belly. Just make him normal.
and it's not believable that time. And no one is perfect. It doesn't. So
Right.
to keep it real in that sense, I think is really important. And some I'm not saying everyone, but some people might have that misconception that they have to create this, and even a perfect world. That's not real either.
Oh, right.
So that would be my third one, I would say.
Yeah. So this is why indie authors need to watch your videos because you explain like this what the problem is and why it's not working and how to fix it. And
And I
so
think, yeah,
yeah.
I think that goes back to from my teaching background. I mean, we always say all the cats cry is explicit teaching.
Hmm.
But I also know from myself as a learner, and I think everyone's a lifelong learner, I get really frustrated when someone might say something or teach something, but not give explicit examples. You've got
Right.
to back up with what you're saying so people can see it in action or understand it,
Yeah.
consolidate it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yes. And and your videos do all this and they do it well. And
Thank
you
you.
express yourself so clearly and so and it just all makes sense. So if I was ever going to pick up writing, which I probably don't want to do because I love reading too much.
Never say never.
I know. I would. People tell me I should write about my life because of some of the crazy stuff that's gone on. But I just love to watch your videos and see what you're doing with that. What's next for you in this realm? Like, could you go bigger and teach globally or offer something more than snippets on TikTok? Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Oh, no, no. And I really love doing that. But yes, I have, and I do have an outline. I'm thinking of whether it's an online course or a one-off.
Nice, nice.
Um, and that is my long-term goal as well as finishing my Archaeage
Mm,
series. Just at the moment, I'm currently teaching a full-time block at the moment for 6 months, but that is on the agenda. And I do have I would say, a backbone or a skeleton of what that might look like. I
yep,
just haven't progressed further for that. And so that's what I would like to do, and
great.
to utilize my teaching knowledge, I suppose, and just to get it out there and give writers something more, not that I mean, my TikToks are fine, but something more tangible they can work through to help them with their writing.
Right, great.
Mm.
Fantastic plan for the future. I'm not even an author, like I said, but I would probably subscribe to your online lessons to learn more from you because I just love the way you put it out there. But let's talk about pet peeves in first books. So for me, I've read a lot of first author books, and I get
Hmm.
authors who are new ask me to read their books for them. On my channel, I will never promote something that I don't love,
Hmm.
and I will go back to the
Fair
author
enough.
and honestly say to them, this is what challenges they have with your book. I'm never going to do a negative review of an author's book ever because
Yes.
I don't think that's
Yes.
nice. So I
No,
would
no, I
rather have a
agree.
private conversation and say, okay, this is where the challenges are. So
Yep.
the biggest problem I have with a new book is characters that don't belong. Like there's a
Yes.
character, obviously the author has a affection with, loves them, has put a lot of work into them, created this great story for them, but they don't just fit into the story. So is that something you've encountered? Do you find this comes up in new author books?
Yes, yes, it does. And I think too, and it does come up, and I know, and we like writing a book it's a very personal, it can be
Right.
very personal,
Yeah. Yeah.
heart and soul into it. Um, but that's the point I think where you need to step away for a while, let it rest, and then come back and be more ruthless at it.
Yeah.
More ruthless in when you read it to edit the story because you're invested in all the characters. You love this character. You think they're great, but if they're not moving the story forward, you've got to be ruthless and you've got to decide to make that cut. But that can be
Right.
hard.
Yeah.
It's like I said, you've invested a lot of time and
Yeah.
energy.
Yeah.
And even if and it might not be characters, it might be the plot that you've written. It might be more effective to, let it veer to the left a little bit and
Right.
change that up. You've had
Yeah.
this one story in your head for the whole 12 months, and now all of a sudden you're changing.
Yeah.
You've got to be, I think, adaptable,
Yeah.
and be willing to be adaptable. and think about what readers would want or how they would perceive your story. I think
Yeah,
that's and it's hard, when you invest all the time in it,
yeah,
it's challenging.
it
Yeah.
is. And
Yeah,
that's, but you could take that character and put them in a brand new book where they
that's
belong.
right.
So
That's
don't kill
right.
them off in your mind, store them.
That's right. That's exactly right. And I think too, another thing, like I know, stories are very important, but beginnings and endings, and beginnings very much, I've done some TikToks about it. I'm very much into beginnings and having an effective beginning, because that's where, if you want an audience, you want someone to buy your book or to read your book, that's very, very important. So to have and not have to start again with all the detail, all the backstory, think
Mm-hmm.
about where you are starting your story from and
Yeah,
how you can move it forward. I, when I, as a reader, for example, I go to buy a book, I always read the first page
too.
as well as the blurb and
The
the
prologue.
but or even if it's not, but the first page of the chapter.
Yeah,
And if it doesn't hook me, I will put it back on the shelf.
fine.
So I think
Yeah.
it's a really important thing too.
What do you think about an ending as a beginning? Some authors will actually put the what's happening, like the person dies or the person kills somebody, kind of as the prologue, and then the rest
Hmm.
of the story leads up to that point. Do you like
Yeah.
that kind of hook?
Look, I don't mind it. It wouldn't be my personal
Hmm.
first choice. I know it can be quite effective,
Yeah.
and in a lot of if you see on, say, series and shows, they might start as that, like that as well. You have the ending and they backtrack, so
Right.
you see what's happened. And I
Yeah.
think that's very effective. For me personally, I like the tension to build, and then I
Right.
get
And
to
then
the
the yeah, yeah,
yes. And I
yeah,
think, that it's just a different style. And
yeah.
if you make it work well, it can be very popular.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. That is the other thing that I have a bit of a trouble with sometimes is detailed backstories that actually don't deliver anything, that don't actually, this character is a small character and with a massive backstory, but it's not relevant to the end of the book. And I had one of these books that there were five mini characters and a chapter each of their backstory, which had nothing to do with the rest of the book.
I don't know. And sometimes with that, it feels like it's just a gap filler just to make the book longer, or it's
Okay.
not, everything needs to be purposeful.
Yes.
Every,
Yes.
or even every prop or every action backstory, if it's not purposeful, if it's not adding to the main plot or the story, moving it forward, it needs to go. And sometimes it can feel just like a filler, and you
Yeah.
don't really
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
We don't need that information. It might be interesting, or it might show us something about the character, but not something we need to know.
Right. Yes. And I think that's it. It's like, and like you pointed out before, when the character that you love so much or plot that you love so much, you love it, but will the 10,000 people that read your book, hopefully, love it as well? And if they
And
don't, cut.
that's right.
Yeah.
And to look at it through the lens of the reader, not just, write the story first, of course, but then when you go back editing, you've really got to look through the lens of the reader and
Yeah.
think about how they will receive it.
Great. Okay. There's
Yeah.
one other point I wanted to bring up, and I'm sure this is a pet peeve for you. Is like, please, authors, when you're writing your first book, at least use the free version of Grammarly. Like today, spelling mistakes, punctuation, there, the three different there, spell them correctly. Like, there's no reason why they should
No,
even appear in books anymore.
no.
So
And there's enough, like you say, free platforms to
yes,
do that.
yes,
And it's just because it's great, we support indie authors, and it's fantastic to have all the indie authors, but I think it's also important that and I know, all the people I know do,
yeah,
when you put it out there, you want it polished, you want
right,
it perfect,
yes,
like it would be in a traditional book and mortar shop.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that, because, and even with my bit of a peeve is the structure or the setting out of the writing. If it's so the gaps in the writing, or if
oh
it's
yeah,
called the widows, like one paragraph or one line left on a page. That formatting, which have learned so much about, which shocks me how much goes into it. But that also puts me off if I'm reading,
Yeah,
if
yeah,
there's
yeah,
formatting's out.
yeah,
So all of those things are just as important as the story because it's what readers see.
yeah, yeah. If I'm reading a book and it's full of spelling errors and that sort of thing and this bad formatting, I can't go any further because
No,
I'm
no.
lost. I'm distracted too much.
Yeah, and you're then, if I'm the same, you're looking for the next error
Yes,
instead
yes, yes.
of focus on that, which it is distracting.
Yeah,
So yes, I would encourage people to use those platforms too, just to make sure it's at the best level
right.
before you put it out.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
totally agree.
so, and to get, that's where you use the better readers and, things
Yes.
like that. Use that, utilize that, because it's all there for you to utilize. So make the most of it.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that's what you do. That's what your videos do. You help authors make their books, their good books, great books.
Yeah. And it's really, and I've had, like I said, I've had some lovely people contact me and younger people that perhaps wouldn't have had the confidence and say, that's been helpful. And it's quite reaffirming and humbling for me because that makes my day. And I think, okay, great, I'm doing something hopefully to help people and I'm getting good feedback. So yeah, it's really lovely to hear.
Wonderful. Well, there you go. So, to my audience, to my indie authors that follow my channel, if you've got a challenge with your book, your next book, and you're stuck on something, just go to TJ Lloyd's TikTok page, and she'll have the answer. It'll be there somewhere in her videos. So if you can't find it, send her a quick message and say, "This is my problem. What's
Definitely.
your solution?" And she'll link you to the video that addresses it. So please support this lady. She's supporting you, and you're going to learn a lot from her helpful TikTok videos like I have, and I'm not even a writer. So if they benefit me, how great are they going to benefit you? So thank you so much for your time today. Lovely to finally meet after all this time, and
Yes, thank you,
all
Steve,
the
for having
best for
me
the
on.
future. I'm sure that we'll be back and do this again.
Yes, I've loved having a chat with you, and thank you so much for inviting me on.